And I'm redoing this video because I went to go edit it and like throw in some stuff, and I realized that my fan was on in the background that I didn't even notice, and you could just hear it in the whole thing. I don't know why. This little fuzzy friend caught it all, I guess. It's a good speaker. Anyway, I'm just gonna do a quicker one. I don't know if I'll do the full 25 minutes. We'll definitely see about that, just because I've done it all this morning. I did my whole skincare. I kind of did my hair-ish. It doesn't look like it now because curly hair's fun and a blast, I guess. So let's see if I can remember what I was even talking about. I think it was something along the lines of, there was once again some stuff about school and how like I am feeling a lot better doing it. My brain's being a lot less like quit, leave. And it's like I've just finished 2 weeks. I went and recorded a video before I went to my biology class this morning at 9. And then now I came back and I was like, I'll just do the YouTube video. It's done. So I'm done my first 2 weeks of school. It's zooming. It's grooving by. It's going by fast. So it's like, that's great and all. Still a little annoyed because I did like my whole skincare and it was nice and fun. Brushed my hair as per usual. But some of the things I talked about was, I was talking about buying things because I bought 2 vases from my mom's friend Tom. He makes really nice vases. I've bought quite a few of them. I don't have any in my room, I don't think. I think they're all in the living room and kitchen, but they're very nice. So the 2 I bought was, one of them was this nice cylindrical like vase. It has a glossy finish, very like crackly look about it. Like it's something to do with horsehair or like the way it's fired in the kiln, but it's very pretty. It's just like a cool vase, the red. And it tapers off into this like smaller neck and then flares out at the top. It's very nice, very cool. The inside is, you know, pitch black. Ooh, that looks like an eyeball. That would be a really cool like transition in a movie. And then the second one is more of a, you know, that vase from Road to El Dorado, and it's like the really like pretty ladies like holding it. It's like that, but it has a metallic oil like finish. You can't really see it in the camera very well. It's a fairly large size vase, but it also tapers in and then flares out at the top. And it has 2 different dimensions. It's got this like raw clay look, and then it has the metallic glaze, which is very pretty. I don't think you can see how metallic it is on camera. No, it's just coming off as like colors, but it looks like oil spill. Like it's very shiny and metallic looking. It's very pretty. But then the top, oh yeah, ooh, another transition for a movie. Wow, 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 wow. But yeah, it's very pretty. I'm talking fast because like, I feel like I already talked today. So it's like, what are you doing, bud? And it's like, I'm doing this. I'm having fun. I'm having fun! I'm just annoyed, you know? I mean, it's only 25 minutes. That's nothing. That's like not even half an hour. But it's fun regardless to just chat and hang out and like, I don't know. One of the things I was talking about, I'll probably talk about it passionately another time because I'm much more passionate in the mornings. In the evenings, after I've already talked about it all, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. But I was talking about my trees back home and how I'm so excited because like I was talking, okay, I'm starting to remember what I was talking about now because my mom came and visited me yesterday, and one of the things we were talking about was like gardening, and then we brought up this YouTuber that we both watch who has like, she's from Texas and she has a stellar backyard, and she's a really good YouTuber, and I was following her back when she had like 400,000 subscribers, which is a lot, and now she's almost at 2 million, and I'm like, she's growing so much. If you went way back in my TikTok, you can see me talking about her and being like, I love her videos. So I'm real happy for her. Her yard is stunning. It deserves all the praise. But yeah, no, I love it. One of the things I was saying, oh wait, no, I'm going off topic. So my mom came visit me, we started talking about her, and then we started talking about our place. Cause like, you know, we have a house in the city, of course, and then we have our land where like our horses and donkeys are, our pasture space. So that's where those creatures live. Cause we moved out of the country, and then we're like, well, if we have to sell our horses and our horses, they'll just go to the meat market because they're like in their 20s and they're not rideable. They're not a usable horse. So they would go to the meat market. And so it's like, and we love it out there. So of course we want to like just keep it so we can keep going out there, and we have fires and we have a small little shack out there. It's nice. And we love it. It's so fun. No regrets. And then we inherited 2 donkeys. Well, not inherited. My brother's wife's neighbor's grandmother had 2 donkeys, and she was like 80 something, and she was like, I can't take care of them anymore, and everyone was like, rightfully so. So they just came to our place, and so sometimes they still come out and visit them and like see them and bring them treats and whatnot. And I think they're the ones who are throwing the salt blocks out there, because like we have our salt blocks, but we bring them into the pasture a little bit more, like where they hang out the most, whereas they kind of just like throw them by the gate area, and it's like, okay. But it's great. I remember one time I was out there in my pink pants, and I'm like, random people are walking up, I'm like, what the is going on? Who are these people? And then I realized it was their family. And so it's all just been good out there. And so yeah, I'm going off topic again. Anyways, my mom came over, we watched The Garden Lady, we were talking about our garden in the city, and like not our garden, but like our whole lawn space, because we have so many like flowers and bushes and trees, and we just like, we grow so much, and we're like almost out of like room to grow things because it's just filled up so much and it looks so nice. And so we've started doing stuff out in the pasture, mainly trees. So I am so stoked for the trees because, well, where do I start? It first started with Mom and I went to Walmart, which is a common phrase. Mom and I commonly go to Walmart, Value Village, greenhouses, cafes. I love hanging out with my mom. But we went to Walmart to look at the greenhouse because, you know, greenhouse opened up, let's go see. And so we went in there, and as we're coming to the back corner where all the trees are, in the farthest back corner, there's this pallet of 5. It was 5 Thunderchild crabapple trees, which if you like, if you think of Japan, you think like the sakura blossom trees in the road. We have those. Except I think ours are prettier because ours have, like theirs have like the green leaves, I do believe, whereas ours have like the purple leaves. And so ours stay purple, like the tree's a purple tree all year round, except in spring when it's covered in pink blossom. So it's pink and purple, which as we all know from Alice in Wonderland, pink and purple's a pretty good combination. I love the Cheshire Cat. Anyways, isn't he up here? I have a couple Cheshire things, but they're not in this display case. But yeah. It's beautiful. I love it. And so you don't see them too often. And when you do, they're like very high price and very few of them. These ones, there was only 5 and they were only like $40 some per tree. And Mom and I, we immediately grabbed 2 carts, threw them both in like one in each cart because they were big. And a lady behind us came up and grabbed one too. And we started talking to her for a while. And this Chinese lady came up to me. I know she's Chinese because she... before I dive too deep in that, but like she didn't know much English, and so she was trying to ask me, and like her, like, you know, kind of how when you like have like you meet people with immigrant parents and they're trying to ask you a question and they'll usually get their kids to ask it. She has 2 very young boys in the cart who are just like saying random things because they're children, but then so she's like trying to ask me how to take care of it, and I'm like, oh, like it's like, and it's so hard. It's easy to like say how to take care of a tree, but it's hard for people to kind of like grasp it. So like, cause basically if I were to break it down easiest, I'd be like, dig a hole twice as big as like the pot, throw peat moss in there, dump water in the hole, place the tree in the hole, fill it up with peat moss, like all the way to the top to keep like, to fill up the hole, or like some of the ground things, build a well around it, and then water it like crazy for a year, but don't overwater it. But so like for people who don't know trees, they're like, okay, so we dig the hole twice as deep. Does that mean like go twice down as deep? It's like, no, just like twice as wide, because you don't want like the trunk to be like under the ground, or where it's grafted to be under the ground. And it's like, well, do I just leave the hose on all day? It's like, no, like just like drown it like day 1 and like leave it for like a week and then drown it again and like just let it dry out. Like, of course, like they need water, but they also need to have like dry roots. You don't want them to get, I don't know. It's just like, I was trying to explain it. But anyway, we bought those 2 trees, went and planted them out in the pasture because they're going to be stunners. They're just going to be so gorgeous. And then I think that summer also, when I went to Canadian Tire, mind you, I love weeping willows. I obsessed with them. When we'd ever go to visit my Baba and Gigi, my dad's parents over in North Battleford, we would kind of like sometimes drive around. But so like in North Battleford, what happened oh so many years ago was this dude went to every single house and sold, for $1, he sold a weeping willow, a spruce, and I think a birch, as a pack of 3 for $1. And these were kind of trees that weren't like all over the place yet. Like, they weren't huge. They were kind of more specialty. So everyone bought them. So like in all the front yards, there's weeping willows. And it's just like you drive up these hills or like around these neighborhoods and it's just weeping willows swaying. And it's beautiful. And I love them. And I've always wanted my own, but I never really see them at greenhouses. And so I'm like, oh, maybe one day. And last summer at Canadian Tire, there was 2 weeping willows. It might have been 4. No, it was 2. That's right. Or no, it was 4. I bought 2, one for me and one for my like best friend, and they were like $100 or so. I think it was like 110. They were big trees. They were like 12 feet tall. So I was like, wow, I'm getting a big tree here. And so they're like hanging over the back of the truck. I gave my friend Derek the one that has the more branches because it'll have a better chance at life because it has more leaves. So I took the taller one, but it was a lot more spindly, which is like, it's good. But I knew I'd be able to take care of it because that was last year when I was living in PA. So I was able to go out and check on it and dump water on it like no one's business. And so that was the start of that. Sad note, this year, since I moved in March, I wasn't here for the majority of spring and summer and fall now. And it had a droop. It was like this when I left. And now it was like that. So, my mom, I love her, went out and staked it up for me. And I was like, how much are you watering it? She's like, well, I haven't been. And I'm like, okay, well, that's probably why it's dying. And there's like ants all at the base of it because it was like, oh, wow, nice dry soil because it's all sand out there. So it's like nice sandy soil and delicious roots that we can eat. And it's like, that's probably what's contributing to killing it. So it needs water for those ants to be like, you know what, this isn't the place. I also laid down a bunch of straw around the base, not like right up to it because that'll kill it or rot the trunk. You kind of want to leave a little space for air, but like around most of the ground around it, like about layer this thick, I'd say, and to keep in moisture and just like insulate it a little bit more. So mom's been doing that, and she also dug a little trench from the horse troughs where we fill them up at the well because it's like a slight incline down in our pasture because it's like the well's kind of like at the peak. It's like very, very minimal, like you hardly even notice it. But so she dug a little like path all the way down to the weeping willow. So when we're watering the horses, we just let it overflow like from our well and the horse troughs, and then it kind of just starts making its way like a little creek down to the weeping willow. So hopefully that's what the issue is, that it'll be fine, because my fruit trees that I'm getting to, what I also love, were not watered either. So my pear tree has like no leaves on it right now, but I'm hoping, like I snapped a little bit of a branch just to see what it looked like on the inside, and it was green. So that means it's still alive. So I'm thinking it might be an early shedder for fall. So please God, please keep it alive. So yeah, now on to the fruit trees. So that was last time I bought the weeping willow and mom bought the Thunder Child crab apples. And now this year, I get into a bunch of it. I bought quite a few things. I ended up buying 3 fruit trees. So I bought a Pembina plum, which beautiful red colors that it's turned into like this fall. Like it was green leaves, turned to like a nice mauve color, and then scarlet red. Gorgeous tree. Just an absolute stunner. And I was knocking off, when I bought it, I was knocking off all the little like green plums that had formed, and mom's like, oh, please leave 3. And like, if you're wondering why I'm knocking off all the plums, when you first get a fruit tree or something like that, you'll want to make sure you cut off or like snip off all of its flowers its first 2 years that you have it, because, and if you don't do it, that's fine, but like I do it because so much like hormone and like growth energy goes towards like flower production and then fruit production that it kind of puts roots and branches on like the back burner. It's like, it's still growing them, but it's prioritizing. It wants to make its fruit. So that takes up a lot of energy, a lot of sugars, a lot of water. That could be potentially going towards its roots or its branches or its trunk or its general health. So I typically like pull off, for the first 2 years, I snip off all the like the flowers, and like when I bought it and it had fruit, I'm knocking all those off. So mom asked me to leave 3, so I was like, okay, I'll leave 3. So I left the 3. They started like progressing well. They were turning to plums, but like it's its first year, so I wasn't thinking they were gonna like taste very good, because it's like it's been living in a, like, it hasn't been getting very well taken care of at Canadian Tire. They weren't, like, a lot of their stuff died because they just didn't water it, and it just was planted. So it's not gonna have much, like, it's not gonna be a good fruit. It doesn't have like as much sugar as it should, as much water content. Like, it's not gonna be good. But I left them anyway, and so when they were ripe, I'm here in Saskatoon, so I couldn't try any. But Mom tried one, and she's like, oh yeah, it was kind of bitter. And I'm like, yeah, that happens. And then by the time she got back to check on it again, all the other fruits had fallen off and rotted. So yeah, that was the Pygmy and plum. I also bought a Casino apricot. I have never, ever had a fresh apricot. Mind you, I've only ever had fruit from the grocery store, but I've never even had an apricot from the grocery store. I've had dried apricots, but never a fresh one. And this Casino apricot, they're the size of a peach. They're big apricots. Because I was about to buy the Westcott apricot, but I'd already bought like $230 trees. So I was like, I can only get one. The Westcott apricot that I was going in for, which I heard was very good, which I will get next year, or this Casino apricot, which I heard was good, and there was only one left. And I was like, well, I'm getting the Casino apricot because the Westcott seems to be popular and they bring it in every year. So I can get it next year. Anyway, I usually give myself like a $300 spending limit for trees, which it goes a little over, and it could be a little under. It's fine. But yeah, so Casino apricot, and it just looked rank. Like, it has like 3 sucker branches coming out of one branch, which, like, for people who want to trim their trees, you definitely, like, you have your trunk, which goes all the way up to the peak of the tree. That's like the main, like, stalk. Then you have branches that come out, and those are good. Those are the branch. It produces fruit and stuff like that. And then there's sucker branches. So stalk, branch, sucker branch. So the branch is still going out, but a little sucker branch comes out the side and starts growing that way. And so you want to trim off those sucker branches because they just take excess nutrients away from the main branch, which has like a better like system for, you know, the tree. So it's like that. And then a lot of the main branches, they like grew out and then down like this, which I don't know why. So it's like I either got to like prop up the branches and like promote them to grow up or trim like them in a way. I don't know. It's just going to be a lot of work for that one because it's going to need the extra TLC. But I'm very excited for it because I've never had a fresh apricot before. So 2 years from now, I will. That's actually something to look forward to, is by the time, like, I'll have my degree the year my, like, trees start producing fruit. Because I'll have done it this year. I've done school this year. Then I'll do school next year, because like I said, it's either 2 or 3 years. And then, so I do school this year, then I'll do school next year. And then the 3rd year they'll produce fruit, and that'll be either the time I'm done this or I'm already done this. So like that's something to look at. It's like I'm like when I planned it, I was like, yeah, that's like not very far away. Like that's coming up. Like it's only 2 years I have to trim flowers. That's not long. Okay, this was a new little good thing I actually filmed this today because I didn't even think about that. By the time I get my degree, that'll be the time I've been waiting for my fruit trees to like that I can like let them start producing fruit. So this is good. This is good. This is new info. This is more motivation. Yeah, it's bonus. And then the 3rd one I planted, like I said, my pear tree, which has lost all of its leaves, is a pear, U-R-E, pear, which I hear is a very good, very hardy pear. And so I'm just like, so now we have 5 fruit trees in total, because 1 year ago, like the summer before this one, I had bought a grafted plum it's a plum tree that has like 5 different ones connected to it. 3 of those died before like I even bought it. Like I just bought the tree and I was like, yeah, these are dead grafts. Like they just couldn't survive here, I guess. So it's kind of scammy. And then my mom bought a grafted pear. And the grafted pear was doing great until this spring when I took off all the burlap. I had coated it to cover it from the deer in the winter. The donkeys ripped it into a twig. It's like this now. But this whole summer, it's been growing more like branches out from the bottom and like some from the top. It ain't doing too hot is what I'm trying to say here. But it's alive. I blocked off mine, but I didn't block off my mom's, which was just me being lazy. Because like I did mine and I was like, ugh, this is fine. I'll wrap that one. It'll be okay. That's me being selfish. I was like, I just wanted to protect my tree. I didn't care about protecting mom's. Sure, my mom could have. But I was already doing it, so I should have just done it for her. She owns the pasture. She's letting me plant stuff out there. That's just called being grateful and being kind to your mother. So I regret not doing that. But I've done it now. I found a bunch of posts and a bunch of like twine we had, and my friend who hasn't been working with horses forever, he's like, yeah, they'll respect the fence. You don't need barbed wire. It's good to have barbed wire, but like if it's these horses that already know, because like our whole pasture is cased in barbed wire. It's like they know how a fence works. They won't like push into it too much. So I was like, okay, so I just have string for now. I think I might upgrade that next. next summer or something. But yeah, so mom's tree is a twig, but it's growing back, so it's doing good. It's coming into its own, which I'm happy for, and I'm glad it's being okay. Still just a little worried. Still just a little worried though. But yeah, school will be done and I'll have fruit. That's so just good to know. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Enjoying it a lot. Anywho's, what was I feel like I was going somewhere with like planting and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to also trim like the plum and the pear, but like I give that a year. Like I plant it, give it a year to settle in and start like growing, because I think the best time for like pruning is in the spring, because people say you can do it in the spring or the fall, just don't do it in the summer. But I think the spring's better, because the spring is when all that like growth hormone starts flowing through it. If you cut it in the fall, its only protection is that it dries out from like the weather, because the tree's going into dormancy, so it's not going to seal off its new wound. It's just going to dry, and like as the tree grows, it'll then heal over it. Whereas if you cut it in the spring, it's immediately going to start pushing out sap and seal it off, and it'll be a much better like scab for the tree to heal. So it's like, I think the spring's the best time to do it. They say when the buds just start flushing out. And if you don't know what that means, it's just basically you have a bud and it starts turning like a color, like pink, because it's about to like, and even if you do it when the buds just come out, that's fine too. But yeah, just do it mostly when the buds are flushing, because that's when the growth hormone's happening, because it's pushing out leaves and growing and growing. So it'll heal over a lot better. So that's what I'm going to do next year. So yeah, when it starts getting cooler and like everything starts turning brown, that's when I'm going back out there with the burlap, wrapping every tree up again for extra measure, because those deer are insane and eat everything in our pasture, our bales. So they'll eat my trees. I'm just so worried about my poor little weeping willow. I think it'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's like its leaves just look a little burnt from the heat in the summer, so I think it's totally fine. We've been giving it a lot more water, so it's chill. It is chill. I just miss it out there, you know? But I'm working here. I'm not working, but I'm working. I'm working towards getting my degree. I am studying. I'm doing all that so that I can be out there any day I want. Working, I'm like, oh, off work, I'm gonna run out to the pasture and water everything real quick. I'm also a little worried because like all the winters I'm out there throwing off hay, because I don't like my mom, like throwing hay, like shoveling hay in and pulling it off, especially during -30, I don't really like my mom doing that. She's not like inept, like she's strong, she's like, she can do it. I just would prefer it if I was out there helping. I'm just, you know, like my dad's Baba, my great Baba, she was chasing cattle into her 80s on the farm. Like when you're out there working out, your body adapts to it. It's when you stop doing all that stuff that it stops. So it's like, ugh. Like my roommate tells me there's like that study that like, what was it, 80% of people after they hit 30 can't sprint anymore because they just haven't done it in so long. Their body's like you could start running, but then your body's gonna be like, ah! Like, and you just can't sprint anymore. You can do like a fast jog, but you're not sprinting, which is interesting. So maybe some sports are good, but yeah, I just want to plant so much more. So that's why if like this takes off, YouTube, hello, send money my way, advertisements, because you know what I'm buying? I'm buying trees. I'm buying shrubs. I'm paying for my tuition as well, because I appreciate my dad doing that. I greatly, greatly, greatly do. I greatly, greatly, greatly do. But it'd be nice if I could just like fully pay it off too. So then I wouldn't have to like burden. I don't like being a burden. I really would like it if I'm not. That's why I try to help out. Because not just being a burden doesn't mean just like vanishing and never like getting help. No, being a burden is like, in my view, for me, it's like being around family and doing nothing. Like, if I like was in the same city as my mom and I never called her up, even if I'm living here in Saskatoon and if I never called up my mom, I would be an emotional burden on her because she just doesn't know if I'm alive or dead. That's in my brain. So it's like, I call up my mom, I ask her how she's doing, because like, I love her. She's like a great person. She's raised me my whole life. She's a person. So sometimes, of course, I do get a little annoyed. Like, Just as she gets a little annoyed with me, I'm sure, which I know she does sometimes. But like, you know, when you're just like having an off day and like you get asked a ton of questions and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to call you back later. But I love her to bits. So I don't know. I'm going off this weird burden thing. Let's take that all back. No, not a burden. I love her. I just miss her. That's why I feel this way. Because I love my mom. I love going shopping with her. I love hanging out. I love talking with her. I just have a really close relationship with my mom. We're just like, we're friends. But like, you know, mother and son friends. So it's like, I'm not joking with her like I would my friends because that's fucking weird. I would never say the jokes that I say to my friends. I mean, like the other night when she's like, I gotta go pee, and I accidentally went, go piss, girl. I was like, ugh. That's something I say to my friends because of Tumblr memes. I'm not gonna say that to my mom. And I did it by accident, but you know, she didn't catch it. She didn't clock it, I don't think. So I was like, okay, good. But yeah, no, it all went well. You know what? This 25 minutes, it went by much faster than I thought it would be. So let's hope that it was just the fan and not my actual camera, because please, my Rode mic. Took off the fuzzy thing. Back on it goes. Hopefully that doesn't sound too weird. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.